Hello class, this is Mrs. Barrow and I'm here to explain to you the similarities and differences between Paleolithic and Neolithic man. Paleolithic man were from the Old Stone Age. The word Paleolithic means old stone. Okay, so this is the first Stone Age. This is the original people, Homo sapiens in Africa, coming out of Africa. This is that era. Now, Paleolithic man were hunter-gatherers, meaning they hunted meat and they gathered berries and grains and vegetables for themselves. Because they were hunter-gatherers, they followed their food. They didn't settle down in one place because the animals would move around in herds. So it's like the ultimate DoorDash, just to follow your Chipotle wherever it goes. And, obviously they didn't have Chipotle back then, but it's a very similar feeling close to my heart. So Paleolithic man were nomads, had no place to live. They would just follow their food. Sometimes they'd sleep in caves, sometimes not. They were hunter-gatherers. That is what they ate. They did cave art, which means they used to draw pictures on the inside of caves. This was the only written form of communication back then. They would typically draw things like handprints for self-expression, and they would draw things like animals that were in the area, kind of like the big M symbolizes McDonald's for us. Oh, look, there's an antelope on the side of that cave. That means that there's probably an antelope outside somewhere. Let's go find it. So Paleolithic, hunter-gatherers, nomads, they did cave art. They also had fur clothing. Why? Because there was an ice age towards the end of the Paleolithic period. This was the ice age that killed out Neanderthal, and then we were all by ourselves for the Neolithic, or mostly by ourselves. So during this ice age, obviously it's cold. How are they going to adapt? Man doesn't have fur, so they would kill animals for their fur and they'd start wearing fur clothes, which is something that they didn't really have as much of in the Neolithic age because it was warm, and wearing fur all day can get kind of hot. So fur clothes, hunter-gatherers, nomads, cave art, those are all Paleolithic man things. Let's talk about Neolithic man. The word Neolithic means new stone. So Neolithic Age is the new Stone Age, meaning that it happened after the Paleolithic Age. Does that make sense? Because new is after old. So Neolithic Age started with the agricultural revolution. The agricultural revolution means that people started farming and settling into communities, which is what changed the world today, as you know from class. So Neolithic man were farmers. They lived in settlements. That makes them totally different than Paleolithic immediately. They had specialization, which is basically jobs. Different people had different skills. They became craftsmen. They did different things. Prior to this, everybody was a farmer. Why? Because if you needed stuff, you had to make it for yourself. You couldn't depend on anybody. But Neolithic Age, specialization. Then there's another Sean in the Neolithic Age, and that one is domestication. What they did was they domesticated plants and animals. That means they made it so that they could be near the home. Like, you're probably like, dude, how do you domesticate a plant? I mean, am I going to teach a plant to play fetch or something like that? No, absolutely not. Domesticating a plant means that you get them to like grow in fields together. Instead of walking those 3 miles for different berry bushes, you have all the berry bushes in a row. That's domesticating a plant. Domesticating animals, however, a little bit different. It makes them a little bit more chill. One of the most famous domestications we did was we domesticated the dog, and that was mostly for protection purposes. But there were other animals that we domesticated for food, like pigs and cows, and for their milk, like goats. And, we also ate goat meat too, but it's part of life. One of the domestications that we did was ox, which was great because it helped us with the invention of the ox-drawn plow, which made farming so much easier and less time-consuming. It was fabulous. So domestication is from the Neolithic Age and Neolithic man. Specialization, Neolithic Age, Neolithic man. Farming, Neolithic Age, Neolithic man. And settlement, Neolithic Age, Neolithic man. Neolithic man also had some metal tools, but they did also use stone tools. Both Paleolithic and Neolithic used stone tools. However, Neolithic did have metal, but it wasn't really good metal. The good metal happens during the Bronze Age. Once they figured out mixing copper and tin together would make a harder metal that's more stable and doesn't bend as easy and will last a long time, changed everything. And that was the end of the Neolithic Age, is the Bronze Age, because bronze is, well, awesome. So, similarities, stone tools, lived during the Stone Age. Both of them hunted, although like hunter-gatherers relied on hunting for meat. The agricultural communities did have domesticated animals for meat, but occasionally they'd have to go out and get something a little bit bigger, So those are the differences and similarities between Paleolithic and Neolithic man. Remember, Paleolithic, Old Stone Age. We're talking about hunter-gatherers, nomads, fur-wearing, Ice Age-loving, crazy people who live with their families on their own. And then Neolithic Age, we're talking farming, settling, specialization, domestication, making it all work out so the world can trade and go on to be what it is today. And then similarities, both used stone tools, both used fire, both, what else did I say? Both went hunting for big game, and yeah, both were during the Stone Age. So I hope you enjoyed. Good luck, guys.